Now then, let's get to it. Mo Salah doesn't go away, does it? After rejecting a deadline day offer, would it make no sense whatsoever for Liverpool to entertain any further offers with the English window now closed? Reports overnight, Simon, claim that Liverpool are set to be offered an improved bid of 215 million quid for Salah by Al-Ittihad. talkSPORT Saudi reporter is Ben Jacobs, and he can tell us more on this. Is this really coming down the pipe? Is this on the way, Ben? £215 million offer? Good morning.
Good morning. I think the Salah story, as you say, has not gone away. What I can tell you is that Al-Ittihad representatives are in London. Both clubs at the moment, sources close to them, deny that any formal bid was tabled last night. But we know that Al-Ittihad plan to try again. And as I've said many times, we have to understand whether that's for optics or they think they've got a genuine chance of success. And some of that will come down to whether or not there comes a point where Mo Salah says to Liverpool, listen, that money's too good to turn down for you, and I want to go. If a bid is tabled, I think we have to be very wary as well about this number, 215 million. And the reason I say that is because my understanding is that there'll be a very healthy guaranteed fee should a formal offer be tabled. And then the add-ons will take it either lowest end 175 million, highest end around about that 200 million mark. But some of those add-ons are related to winning the Club World Cup. So it's very easy for Al-Ittihad to inflate the overall package to create this giant number. But if Liverpool were to seriously entertain it, then they would want to be sure that they're going to get the vast proportion of the package, not just the guaranteed fee.
I mean, Simon, Ben, stay with us. Your take on it last week was, if this gets to crazy money, and it already was last week when Sam Matavese joined us, then it's going to be hard for Liverpool ultimately to say no, and that he could well be on his way. Do you still stand by that? I mean, if this kind of dough comes in.
This is not a case of if, it's a case of when. So whether it's in this window or whether it's in the January window or whether it's next summer. What is interesting, and I have this mantra, that the more the deal was played out in the public domain, whether it's the buying of a football club or the transfer of a player, and this kind of detail that finds its way in to the media, the less I become inclined to believe in the intermediate or real time it's going to happen, because we seem to be being briefed in by whoever's briefing us in, whether it's the Saudis or people associated with them or people that are getting information by stealth. And we seem to be privy to the transaction before even the football club that owns the players' registration is privy to it. So when you get into this territory of add-ons and significant monies up front, Mo Salah will go to this particular football club or to this particular part of the world. Whether he goes in this window, it makes no sense to me, unless I made the point on Friday about conspiring. If you wanted to do this deal, and you were keen to do it as a Saudi Arabian football club, why would you not give Liverpool an opportunity to facilitate the problem that this deal would have created? Because if you give Liverpool an opportunity to facilitate the solution to that, then maybe you'd have got the deal done. So you come to the end of the transfer window, you don't make a bid until the very day or the day before the transfer window's closing. How do you help Liverpool pull a lever which enables you to get the player out? That makes no sense. That's why I think it's posturing at this moment in time. But I do think a deal will get done inevitably at some point.
And of course, Simon, as we know here, the window's now closed in this country, Ben, but not so in Saudi. It's Thursday for that. Ben, here's the thing, though. Klopp confirmed after the Villa game at the weekend that he and Salah have never even had a conversation about the player leaving the club. Let's listen to him.
He didn't tell me, but he didn't have to. He speaks with training, performances, with behavior. We had meetings this week, and the meetings were not about what we did in the past. It was about what we will do in the future. Mo was with the players committee, and Mo had his moments where he was talking and there was nothing about, by the way, it's only until next week or whatever, and then my future is, he's completely here. And if Dom said that, fine. Mo doesn't have to come in my office and tell me, by the way, boss, I go. But for me it was not a subject for 1 second, to be honest.
So off the back of that, Ben Jacobs, one would find it hard to believe that Liverpool would then perform what perceivably would be the biggest of all U-turns and sell them.
Exactly that. And I think the fan base would feel they're being very unambitious and be worried because they can't bring in a replacement. They didn't get Champions League last season. They're trying to get it again. Salah's important to that. Sell him in 2024. You're still probably going to get over 100 million if there's a desire from the Saudi deal makers to still sign the player. So Liverpool's stance has been clear. It's been public. It's been bullish. It's been dismissive even. But it's just a very unique type of deal, which always leaves that 1% of doubt. Fulham said very publicly to begin with, Alexander Mitrovic wasn't for sale. He forced the move. I think that's the difference here, that Salah's not going to do that. And if the player doesn't push, then Liverpool can stick to their position. There may come a point where Klopp thinks one thing, Salah should stay, and FSG think another, because the money becomes too good to turn down. But I don't think we're there yet. And I think if we were going to get to that point, as Simon suggested, it would have come earlier in the window, because to get this deal done, you need an amicable relationship with Liverpool. And to come to them when the European window is shut is perhaps now, for whatever the amount is, not the right time to actually get the deal done.
Ben, can I ask you the principles of why the Saudis would operate this way? Because it doesn't make any sense. I'm not suggesting they should follow conventional wisdom and fall in line with the historic way of doing deals. But if you're trying to extricate one of the jewels in the crown of an iconic legacy football club in England, and albeit the economics will make a decision for them when it gets to a certain scale, why would you do it at the last moment to give that football club, as I've made an observation already, a position where they've got no choice in terms of an ability to replace? Is this Saudi arrogance? Is it Saudi naivety? What is it?
I don't think it's naivety. The people doing the deals are highly experienced in European football.
Well, clearly not.
Well, I think you've got McElhenney.
Who does deals on the last day of a transfer window at that scale with an iconic footballer that's going to have no ability to replace him? Who would do business that way and really legitimately expect an outcome?
Maybe they don't expect an outcome of getting Salah. Maybe they expect an outcome of making headlines, as you suggested. Yeah. You can look at it both ways. But I think the point here is, on the Saudi strategy, the target was 2024 for Salah. So this isn't last minute because they've left it to the last minute. It's last minute because they've decided, hang on a minute, our 2024 target might be available in 2023. Maybe we can get him for the Club World Cup. And the reason why they've moved is because they've got some kind of encouragement from Mo Salah's camp that he wants to go eventually, but maybe still not now.
But so they didn't even table a bid, Ben. I mean, they had indicated, we all knew when the rumours started circulating at the beginning of August that there was Saudi interest, and because there was a question of his agent and there was a pushback. So we knew that the interest was then. So they didn't even table a bid.
Well, I think the other thing to say, though, in tabling a bid is it's complicated. You can't just do it overnight. It's not like a traditional football club where if you decide you're going to make a bid, you do it quickly and, as you say, decisively to allow Liverpool time in the market to replace. Al-Ittihad may decide they want to make the bid, and then they have to do two things. One, clear out because their foreign quota is full. Two, get the funding from the Ministry of Sport, which you might think is quick and obvious because everyone wants Salah, but they've already spent on Benzema. They've spent big money paying the wages of N'Golo Kante. So there's a process whereby the club up to the Ministry of Sport via PIF all have to work together. And that's not an overnight thing, especially not at this magnitude. So I think that's one aspect, but I agree with you. The other aspect in all of this is maybe they don't mind if they fail because this push for Salah is genuinely just about having us talk about it, putting optics in a position where the Saudi Pro League is making the back pages of us all around the world.
Ben Jacobs, talkSPORT Saudi reporter, thank you very much indeed. I mean, as you rightly say, Simon, it seems we're getting drip-fed bits of information on this. It's claimed Salah's been offered 2.45 million a week, 55 grand win bonus, ambassadorial roles with 3 major Saudi companies, and Al-Ittihad are said to be out there over your shoulder here in London.
There's a little window, a little insight into how they'll look to get around financial fair play in the future. We'll give our players ambassadorial roles from people that he's going to be sponsored by. There's a little window into the psyche of the Saudi mentality.
Those very roles apparently would net Salah an extra 18 million quid. Each of those firms would pay him 6 million each.
Well, there you are. I mean, ultimately, those are the structures that we will look forward to them putting forward, and when they put forward these broadcast deals, because there will come a point when if Saudi are really this serious about making this league as competitive as they lead us to believe, and they really want to be at the top table, that they're going to be asked to fall in line. Their transfer windows are going to be asked to fall in line, because it's quite ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, their transfer windows, are still able to cause mayhem in the European marketplace, the transfer windows were put in place for a bloody reason, because they wanted to bring order. Not so that they could bring an outlier in that creates uproar, because they can continue to purchase assets.
Look at what they can do, though. Those extra incentives, as you said, what a lovely way around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, and when we were speaking on Friday to Darren McElhenney, he was alluding to, I don't think it's quite realistic, but he was alluding to the fact they'll just manufacture a broadcasting deal and pay $3 billion a year in broadcasting revenues that they're not going to get back on their current average attendance of 6,000 fans.
Sure. Okay. Darren McElhenney is very good, incidentally, isn't he?
I think he's the best. I think he's an absolute shoo-in.
Very good indeed.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.